Welcome to Girl Talk with your host, Melissa Ann. Girl Talk is that show which discusses the real issues Black women face being a mom, a dad, a wife, a girlfriend, a sister, a co-worker, a therapist, or whatever hat Black women wear on any particular day. Why? Because Black women are just dope. Without further ado, here is your host, Melissa Ann.
Welcome to Girl Talk with the Boyz new season. Who this? We had a great season last year talking about relationships, and we thought we'd kick it up a notch and actually have some really strong topics this season. You're going to hear from us talking today about lifting as we climb and what that means, not only in a corporate environment, but what it means for us as individuals. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the charities that any of you can support during this holiday season. Many people are without in this, I don't know what type of economy to say it is, but a struggling economy. People are hurting, and they're hurting silently. So wanted to throw out some charities that you can go donate to. We are going to go donate to those charities as well. And then, we want to throw in some tidbits. So our resident finance person is on deck to talk a little bit about how you can better yourself in the finance world. But without further ado, go ahead and introduce yourselves. I'm going to start up here with Brother Raz, a.k.a.
Let's just stick with Brother Rasbo. You can call me brother, you can call me Rasbo, or you can call me Brother Rasbo. They all work.
All right. Kai, a.k.a.
Today is Kaizu.
Kazoo.
Because I'm coming at you.
And last but not least, Roosevelt, a.k.a.
My
Doc,
internet sucks.
or you can call me Mr. Or you can call me Mr. 8000.
Mr. 8000.
the guy from the character on the Flintstones, the Great Gazoo, is making fun of me.
Man. So listen, there are a ton of current events that I don't know where we even begin or pick up. Did you guys vote?
Yes,
Hell
ma'am.
yeah.
No
A lot of
doubt.
people
Gotta be part of
suffered
the
and died to get that for us to get that right.
Word up.
All right.
Rock the vote.
You got to be part
And
of the
how you
process.
feel about the candidate?
I mean, it's not really about the candidates, I don't think, at this point, unfortunately. It's
Kind of is.
Well, yeah,
It
it
kinda
is,
is.
but it ain't. It is. But
You know what we really need to do? I mean, seriously, what we really need to do? All the candidates that you voted for, make sure that they did everything that they said they were going to do. If they're not
They're not
doing
gonna
what
do
exactly
everything.
explicitly what they said to do, well, not everything, but they got to get some of the things that they said on their platform. Because if they don't, we need to vote them out. We just can't be blindly voting down the line or voting for this or voting that. We got to start making some of these politicians accountable to some of the needs that we have. As a community, what we need an equal opportunity to financing for businesses. We need equal opportunity to financing to have jobs, same educational opportunities. I mean, we're doing better, but we're still behind the 8 ball.
Oh yeah.
We are. Which leads us to the next topic, right? Lifting as you climb. So you're saying that you have a lot, you don't need any more, but how are you bringing others up with you?
Personally, myself, I've taken 4 young gentlemen I do mentor, and 1 young lady, 4 gentlemen and 1 young lady, and I mentor them along as far as business principles, how to conduct their finances, and more or less how to more or less pull themselves up to not just so much make money, to understand what money is, and once you understand how money works, then you can actually make money. Because a lot of times we don't even have an understanding of how our banking system works.
How money works.
Well,
That's important.
I'm a big supporter of mentoring. Big
Okay.
supporter of mentoring.
Mentoring. Okay. Kazu?
It's Kaizu.
Kaizu?
Kaizu.
I'm not saying it like that.
God bless you.
There you go. Well, you know, I help run a nonprofit up in Detroit, so that's how I give back. And we focus on STEM disciplines: science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and throw A in there for STEAM, for the arts. And so, I mean, anything from learning the discipline of program and project management, Python programming, networking to cloud computing, to how to be a dentist and how to start your own business as an entrepreneur. We touch all of those avenues. And you would look at the city of Detroit and think, this place is hopeless, but those kids are really hungry, and they're going to be the ones that turn that city around and help us come up as a country, filling the pipeline for these STEM disciplines.
That's dope. Filling the pipeline. Brother Rasbo?
Well, I find myself doing the uplifting naturally. There's no formal thing that I have going on like my man Kai or my man Doc, right? But at the same time, people come to me. They see what I'm doing. They see how I'm moving, and they look for advice. So I start a lot of times folks are starting from the very beginning. They're starting from a place of they don't see themselves. They haven't really wrapped their heads around the fact that they can be financially even stable, let alone financially independent. So the building blocks of that are what they need to be taught. Like say, just the accumulation and the simple things. I don't want to sound cliche, but just paying yourself first and setting aside a bag for yourself and leaving it alone regardless of what happens. And then worrying about after that fact that you're doing that on a regular basis, how to manage that money in order for it to make more money for you, independently of you trading time for your money. So it's those baby steps that I find myself
Boy, spitting tonight, boy.
Giving back to especially young folks, you know.
Spitting tonight, bruh.
That's the deal. That's my place.
And that's dope. And I think that it's not just young people, it's older people. And Doc, when we get to your point about financial wealth, you know, touch on what net worth means. Because many of us don't really grasp net worth. I think we buy cars, we do all these different things, and that depletes your net worth. Like you have a $200,000 house, you have $200,000 in the bank, but you really have a net worth of zero because you still owe your house. But I don't think people really grasp that part. And I don't want to talk about it now. I really wanted to keep going with, do you think people are necessarily lifting as they're climbing? Do you find that in your own careers, people have helped you and really position themselves to get you where you are today? And you don't have to say the name, but who was that one person?
I mean, the good thing about me is just I can't say one person helped me out the most, but I can say there's a lot of positive images. And probably the best thing about it is just that I played a lot of athletics. I played a lot of different sport. So I always had positive men, whether it be Caucasian, Italian, African American. I always had men in my life to help more or less keep me straight. So that's probably the biggest thing that we need to do as people is always, it's like the whole, I hate to say it like this, but it does take a village to raise one kid.
It does. It does.
That's for sure. Yeah, I would say that this thing isn't monolithic in terms of, because it took a village to get me where I am, and so, but I would say my favorite college professor at A&T, North Carolina A&T, Miss Brown, she was the one that looked at my records and started me on my journey, and she became one of my favorite professors. I even can think back all the way to high school. One of my art teachers, he told me, it's not about who you know, but it's about who knows you. And there's little things like that that, as a kid growing up and just running into people, that just sticks with you. And you carry. And I'll tell you this one wild story. I was walking home from school, growing up in New York, in Brooklyn, and apparently I was looking mean. Because, growing up in New York, in the mean streets of New York, you can't be walking around looking too happy, right? Yeah, so I'm walking down the street, right? And this old man was on the street, and he was like, "Yo, young man, what's wrong? Why you look so mad?" I'm like, "Yo, what are you talking about?" And he said, "Look," he said, "let me tell you something." He says, "Nothing wrong with being nice to people because you never know who you're going to run into in life." And that shit stuck with me until this day. And I believe that one message has really shaped who I am in terms of just be nice to people. Choose to be nice. You can be an asshole. That's a choice.
Right.
There's no, you don't go outside and somebody sneezes in your face and you get assholeless. No, you choose to be that way. Choose to be nice.
Yeah, Kahim, I think you were set up to receive that message from someone. Who do you think set you up to receive that message before it came to you? Because there's some knuckleheads out there that would get that same word and not take heed to it. You feel me?
Yeah, I mean, I was one of those kids growing up. I listened to wisdom. You know what I mean? I learned from other people's mistakes. Now, did I make my own set of mistakes? Hell yeah, I did. But I would see other mistakes and try to avoid that. And that shit just made sense. I was like, damn, why do I have to walk around looking mean and being big and bad? And that, the shit has worked out for me, man. I've had people reach out to me from high school saying, and I don't even remember this shit, Derek. Dude, you just don't know how much joy and pleasure you brought to the classroom. Because me and my brother was just going through so much. And you would just come to school every day and you just had everybody rolling and you just made it a great atmosphere. And we just appreciated you for that. And I was like, damn, you never know how you're impacting people. And that's exactly what the old guy said to me. I had no idea. I'm a grown man. This is 25, 30 years later and these dudes are telling me this.
That's good stuff.
I can dig it.
What about you, Brother Raz? Was there someone in particular, or some individuals that, lifted you while you were climbing or lifting you as you climbed?
There were many. I think the root of it is my family, my mother, my sisters. They set me up for success. They let me know what to look for in people that would help me along my journey. And that's why I'm here today with all of you. Y'all are good people. I've learned things and I picked up on things from all of you, and keeping people in my orbit that it helps, that help me, that I can help also. It's a back and forth, and I think that's what we're here for. That's what we're here to do. And,
dude, if you hang out with 9 losers, guess who's going to be the top?
Precisely.
But if you hang out with 9 winners, guess who's going to be the 10th?
And that's what I was going to ask. Like, do you guys find, like, as you grow and as you mature and get older, does your circle get smaller?
No, it gets bigger. No. No. It gets bigger, but the tight circle, the close knit, like who you really rock with, may get smaller. But our circle of influence, I find it grows. No, like as you.
I don't think she's talking about circle of influence. She's talking about what you said about the people you rock with. That's a small circle.
Yeah.
But your sphere of influence and the people you rock with that's in your small circle is 2 different things, in my opinion.
At the same time, it spikes out, I think, a little bit, because when you really rock with somebody, you rock with the people that they rock with, like your core group.
I don't. I don't just rock with. I'm not. If I come to DC and I'm hanging out with you, I'm not gonna automatically rock with your peoples. I got to get to know them. That's just me.
You threw a caveat in there. You said automatically.
No, you said we rocks with the people that, like, I rock with whoever you rock with.
All right. Well, the potential in it is in there. Maybe that's a different conversation. Yeah. All right. Fair enough.
Well,
it gets smaller.
It's a part of this because, like, the people in your circle are wanting to see you go higher. Is what I'm driving at. And do you find that your circle is getting smaller of individuals that are influencing, how you grow and are applauding you and doing all of the right things to ensure that you continue to climb? Or do you have naysayers that are in your group too?
Well,
I can say
you can't have naysayers. You can't have naysayers in the group, because if you have naysayers in the group, you have a negative element. If you're trying to move in a positive direction and you have a group of people who are being negative and positive, it just can't work together. It just can't be in the same. They can't coexist. It's either one or the other. And if you got 5 guys who are trying to do great and you got 3 guys who are trying to do bad, those 3 got to go.
For sure.
Yeah.
You always have to.
I mean, people need to hear that. Like, you running around with people that are being, it's a negative force. Mm-hmm. And they're driving you in the wrong direction. You either been friends with them forever, or there's something that you like about them, but they're really ripping you down. And that's why I was wondering if, we've all had those individuals in our circles. As you get older, though, you find that some of that stuff doesn't matter, and those people aren't as important, and you kind of move away from them. Do you find that you guys have done that?
I want to say this.
Yeah.
I don't feel as though people are disposable, but at the same time, I feel as though some people, depending on how they get down, you might have to disassociate yourself with for a time. I don't think it has to be permanent, though. I think it could be a temporary thing. Because there's been plenty of times in my life where I've looked at a situation where I've had to remove myself from a person's sphere, but then after a time goes by, I would like to reintroduce myself to that sphere, and for no other reason than to reconcile. Then I'm cool with that. I don't think it needs to be a permanent disassociation, but that's just me.
Yeah. Fair enough.
It all depends on the offense. It all depends on the offense. If it's a little thing, yeah, but if it's a big glaring error, you're like, yo, man, this little thing you're doing, it's really insignificant, but could really hem us both up, especially me, because I'm just standing next to you. That's what you got to understand. If someone's doing activities that not only can harm him and harm you, I mean, believe it or not, there are some people who just get on a destructive path. Things start going really well for them, and they can't take success. So they start doing things to sabotage their success. So while they're doing things to sabotage their success, by you standing next to them, now, like a prime example, we could be both in a supermarket, and me and you are both doing well. We're making a lot of money. We're doing our jobs. We're doing everything well, and the reality of it is, you can't just start eating stuff from the fruit tray. You can't start eating open fruit. Technically, that's shoplifting.
Yeah.
But the thing is,
some
people want to do stuff like that
how we
to sabotage themselves.
If they're criminals, yeah.
I mean, stuff like that. I mean, but the thing is, though, but eating fruit like that. No. But the thing is, though, no one thinks eating pieces like you eat a couple of grapes. No, but the thing you got to understand is, walking by and eating some grapes, no one thinks that's criminal, but technically that's shoplifting.
That's criminal. You can't be doing stuff like that. Don't be doing that around me.
You know what? I'm just telling you. People do that all the time and don't think it's criminal. They just think it's taking some grapes.
Yeah, you should disassociate.
Should it be
Just because
permanent?
they had a few grapes, that does not mean that they're criminals.
You gotta tell them though. You gotta be like, yo, stop eating the grapes in the daggone supermarket with me all the time. Otherwise, like I'm not going to the supermarket with you anymore, and then it's over with. And we could hang out at like. We can hang out somewhere else.
Go to the bar,
yeah, we can go to the bar. We can't go to the supermarket. Not together. Yeah.
I mean, are you saying a bag of grapes?
Eating
You
self.
saying 3 damn grapes? You getting ready to get?
It don't make a difference. Don't be in the supermarket eating
I don't
grapes.
see like if they chucking down a whole bag.
You wildin',
and
Melissa. You wildin', Melissa. No grapes.
Melissa, I've seen people eat a couple of grapes, a couple of strawberries. People, they're eating
a banana.
They're eating the fruit like they're eating the fruit.
Yo,
I mean, you see crazy stuff like that, and you're like, yo, man, that's fruit. That's shoplifting.
Yeah, they ate
I mean,
a whole
it's crazy, but it's true.
They got their own bowl.
They had a fruit salad in the supermarket. They didn't even buy it. They just left.
You said they had a full salad?
Yeah.
Fruit salad.
Filling up their bowl.
3 strawberries, a handful of grapes, a banana. Damn, I don't even need to shop now. I can just go home.
I was hungry when I got here, but not no more. Yeah, get out of here. Nah, that's crazy.
God.
Yeah, disassociate with them. They crazy. Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, I agree with you, but I'm just saying, some people don't think that's a crime. And it's a lack of judgment.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I mean, there's guys who do that stuff. I mean, they're on the path of success, and somehow they don't think, and they sabotage themselves.
I also think like there's people like I've identified that really they pose as your friends, but they really in the back of their mind they really want to see you fail. Like, have you guys ran up against had any of those type of people?
See, me, I don't hang around with those type of people because unless they're really good, like the talented Mr. Ripley, they're going to show you their colors. It's going to seep out. You're going to be like, I'm good on this. Yeah. So I've in general, I've always kept my circle small. As far back as I can remember, I've always kept my small circle.
See, like the group of guys we have now, everyone's doing well, and everyone wants everyone to do well, and everyone's happy when someone succeeds. Unfortunately, I've been around some people who, they just can't stand that you're doing good.
Yeah, I cut them off fast. I disassociate quickly. The first sign of that, I'm done. The first sign of that, I'm done. Yeah, I can't do that.
Because if you got people in your circle, man, they should be happy. They shouldn't be upset that you're doing good.
There's always those posers. There's people, that they'll see my particular company, no matter what company I've been in, they'll be like, oh, they're laying off. Like, you think I'm going to get laid off too? I hope not. I pray not. I hope God has kept me this long and he's not going to fail me. But it's almost like they want it to happen. And so I disassociate myself from those individuals and have disassociated myself. So my circle is really, really, really small.
You know what the funny thing is? I remember one time when I was like 11 or 12, and this Italian guy, we were at a fish market. We're looking at the fish market, and I look at the crabs, and there's no lid on it, and you can see the crabs. There's one guy trying to get out, and I go, hey man, I said, excuse me, sir, I think that crab's gonna get out, and he goes, he won't. He goes, why? Because all of his friends around him don't want to see him succeed. And I go, what? Watch as he gets close. I said, I go like this. Watch. He goes, watch when he gets closer to the top. When he was on the bottom, no one cared. Now he's in the middle, no one notices. Now, as he starts getting to the top, he's almost out of the barrel. One of the crabs rips his leg off.
Are you serious? I never watched it.
Yeah.
I just heard the term.
It's actually a true thing. If you ever notice, they never put a lid on crab barrels because they know the other crabs are never going to let him leave.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
But the bucket of crab thing is a real thing, and it's really sad. It's a really sad thing.
You were serious about that.
Yeah, he's serious about that.
Oh,
man.
no, they gonna die.
That dude is a sad thing.
I mean,
it's a really sad thing. Ooh,
I mean,
okay.
I mean, Kai, think about it. Like that one time you said, "Hey, man, I got a promotion," and I'd be like, "Damn, man, he's doing better than me now." I mean, that's a horrible thing to have your friends say that about you.
Yeah, I know that. But you're talking about crabs, and you're saying these crabs are sad, man. It's shellfish. Melissa sent me a picture of crabs that are. I get it. You were making a point about people. I know.
Allegorical.
Hey, allegories.
Ooh, look at that. Spitting it.
Yeah.
Spitting it, son. Yeah. Spitting it.
So the crabs. Now I'm messing with you.
Crabs in a barrel. Heard it. Now.
Nah, but you know what though? That is a thing. I don't think that's necessarily. That's a thing to look out for. That's like a signpost. You got to be careful of that because what happens is I think is it's more subtle than the grabbing of the leg and pulling off the leg and the crabs. It's more like I've seen. No, I've seen it though. I've seen like Peep Game. I was in a restaurant, right? I was in a restaurant, and the way the restaurant was the way the restaurant
I'm listening,
was
son, but I'm laughing too. I can listen and laugh.
The way the restaurant was situated, like these young ladies were sitting next to me, and they were like, the one was talking like right in my face, but we were separated by a thing, right?
Right.
And her homegirl was like over to this way, and she was like this way, like right in front of me. And the one giving the bad advice. So the one that was asking the question was like, "Hey, yeah, this happened, and what should I do?" And the one over here was spitting out the most horrible advice you could ever freaking imagine. Like, she had something going on that was like halfway decent that could be salvaged, but old girl was giving her the worst advice ever. She was like, have sex with his best friend, do this, do that, do the third. She wasn't saying all that, but she was basically saying all that, right? So she was doing like the most. And it was like, yo, where's this coming from? I think that's the modern day crabs in a barrel idea that Doc was spitting out. You got to be careful, but it's more subtle. It's more subtle than most people might realize. You have to go with your intuition. If you feel as though people don't have your best interests in mind, then it might be best to cut them off
Permanently? Or for a season?
Well, if it's like that, then it might be permanent. Because I mean, if they trying to get
your mind, huh?
No. It's different. It's different levels. You know what I'm saying? Like if somebody's trying to get you locked up, or if they're purposefully, or they just like corrupt minded, or whatever. You know, like you might be on a different path than they are. You know, y'all might be going to the same place, but it might be different trains that you need to be on to take you there. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes it's like, all right, you might be going to where I'm going, but I don't need to be on the same train that you're on. You feel me?
We feel you, bro.
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Might be going where I'm going, but I don't need to be on the same train. So you take a later train?
Nah. A different train, different tracks.
Yeah, some people, some life choices. Some people make choices in life that it causes them to take the scenic route.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They veer off, forgetting they were on the shortest path from A to B was just a straight line, but they wanted to take that semicircle. It was a series of choices that they made, and they just came around this way, but they still got there.
Right.
But then you got some people that just veers off and they never get there.
Yeah.
That's just life.
Yeah.
And it's all about choices. You're always one choice away from a different life.
That's deep right there. One choice away
One
from.
choice away from a different life.
Kazoo.
Thank you.
That's what's up.
Believe it or not, that's true.
Thank you.
So
That's true.
Thank you.
Thank you,
it
my
is
brother.
very, 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 very true. We all make choices. So I'm gonna switch gears and talk about what choices are we making to help others? We're lifting them as we climb. So you all have researched charities. Which charity do you choose to discuss today? And I'll start with you, Doc.
Feed America. That's my big charity. I'm really into making sure that people don't go hungry. It's really a shame that in a modernized country like the United States of America, people still go to bed hungry. So, I mean, in my offices, I make sure that we all have food drives 3 times a year. We're donating back to the community. And if you do, Feed Americas are very good. They partner up with a lot of food banks. And if you do have food in the back of your refrigerator, back of your cabinets that you're not going to eat, you don't think you're going to eat, and even if you think, it just might be a good idea to give to somebody else, remember, the food that you don't want, someone would love to eat. But Feed America is my charity.
So, how do we donate?
You just get a box, get all the canned foods, packaged foods, obviously not fresh food, but any canned, packaged food that you're not going to eat, or even then, it's just good to donate, and you just take it down to a local food bank. And there's usually a lot of them are run by Feed America. And then
Okay.
some places, depending on the food bank, like a lot of these food banks, what they'll do is on Thanksgiving and on Christmas, that's where a lot of the food goes. They make it for people to have so they're going to have a hot meal on the holidays. One church that we always give to, and that I always give to, they have people who actually work on one Wednesday night. On Wednesday nights, Tuesday nights, they prepare the meals and give people a warm meal for the night. There's another church that I help support. They do hot dog Tuesdays, and what happens is they sell hot dogs. The people can afford them, and if you can't afford it, they still feed you. So at least somebody's getting fed. I mean, everyone's getting fed who comes there.
That's nice. That's nice, man.
And there's millions of people that go hungry every night. Millions.
And it's a shame.
And a
Sure.
good
It's a
number of
shame.
them are children.
And the worst part about it is that we got to start taking the stigma away from helping people eat. Because what happens is a lot of these people, they'll have pre-prepared bags of food. And some people will take it, some people won't. And you have to understand, a lot of these people need nutrition. That's why a lot of these people sometimes they have bad teeth. They have a lot of these diseases, a lot of immune dysfunction because they can't eat. And a lot of it would be corrected if they were able to eat it, some frequent meals. It's a big deal.
For sure.
I think it's a big deal.
No doubt.
Hence the reason you're passionate about it, and the passion is showing, brother. Keep it up. And after Doc
granted,
feeds
we're all
them,
in great positions.
we take them and we educate them in STEM and STEAM. And so,
So
what
do
I
you
like
guys
to,
have charities that you brought? Kayadzu?
yeah, so we take donations for our nonprofit. It's a nonprofit, so we fund through donations and giving. I give, my business partner gives, and we ask individuals to give so we can help educate and expand this thing. Because there's a community center right down the street from my house. I'm like, man, that would be a nice place to do some Python programming classes for these kids in this neighborhood. There's a school, Barack Obama Elementary School, right across the street from the center. Hey, set up something with APS after school. They come learn how to program.
Nice.
Learn how to make apps. So these are the type of things I'm thinking about doing, and especially in retirement. Once I retire in 3, 4, 5 years, I'm doing that full time.
That's
So meaningfulpower.org, meaningfulpower.org. Go there, donate. And the money goes all to the kids and to what we do.
And we'll make sure that we include
That's
these
good.
links in the podcast as well, so that they're easily accessible. And Brother Rasbo,
Yes, ma'am.
Yours?
Yeah, Northern Virginia Family Services.
Okay.
It's local to Northern Virginia. That's where I'm based out of, the DC metro area. So on a southern side of Northern Virginia. Northern Virginia's Family Services is nvfs.org, and I have a little bit of a story. I volunteered there, and I saw a lot. The big deal is the little things for me. Like I saw what was going on when I volunteered there, and it was beautiful because they're feeding families. But there was a time after my initial stint of volunteering there where a friend of mine fell on hard times and was lamenting about the cost of groceries. And feeding her child, and I gave her that information, and she was able to go to the food pantry and pick up food for her family. And I think that's when it really hit home for me how serious it is for folks that don't have.
It's no joke.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's what really drove it home for me. And that's why I bring up that particular organization today. So, like I said, Northern Virginia Family Services, nvfs.org, and they do good things. And it's a nonprofit, even though it sounds kind of like a government kind of deal, but it really is just a nonprofit that helps out the community in this area.
Excellent.
Anything that helps is good.
Yeah. Mine is Minnie's Food Bank, and Minnie's Food Pantry, and it's in Texas. And I had an opportunity to volunteer there a few years ago, with a group of individuals, and the way that the individuals are treated when they're coming to get food, I've never seen in my life. It's just white glove service, and they really harp on making it's already a tough time for individuals having to come to a food bank, so making it comfortable for them, making sure that they have donuts and coffee and snacks and everything while they're picking out their food, and they go through this whole events of picking out their food. If in that particular day it was raining, so they had us have umbrellas so that when the individual had their box of food, we took them to their car with an umbrella to ensure that they didn't get wet. So I mean that really impressed me. I think, and so I will always donate to this particular organization. So it's minniesfoodpantry.org. Go there, donate. Especially during COVID, they were asking for a lot of donations because, as you know, people were really, really struggling. But now we have a situation where the economy is really tough. So people, like you said, Brother Rasbo, it's for real. Yeah. So, good conversation today. Before we close out, Doc, what is your financial tip for folks?
Probably the biggest thing that we need to explain to people is net worth. And net worth is great, but the funny thing is just that, and it's what takes it there. We as a people need to understand what assets are. Like people think like when they have a lot of money, they go buy a car, and a car is really valuable. Your car is what they call a depreciating asset. The longer you have it, the less value it has. So when you take a car and you drive it off the lot, and if you buy an $80,000 car, now it's worth $60,000, that is the worst investment you can ever do because you just lost $20,000. And don't believe the hype when they tell you that, hey, it's going to hold its value. it's already lost half its value. It's already lost 20% of its value. You just drove it not even a mile. And the reality of the situation is that we have to buy assets that appreciate, like buying real estate. So, I mean, if you want to be a renter, that's great, but it's good to buy things that appreciate in value. Real estate is one of them. Land is another one. Stocks is another one. Because it's as great as it is to own the hottest bag and things of that nature, instead of owning the bag, why don't you own a share of that in that company? Like all the news is about Adidas and Yeezy. My whole thing is everyone's buying these Yeezy sneakers, and not anyone owns a share of Adidas stock. Like everyone's wearing Jordan sneakers, and no one owns a share of Jordan stock. So technically, we're just being consumers. We're the greatest consumers of finances, and we make the least, and we spend the most. So and probably the biggest thing is that, like a lot of people say, you know what, I'm turning the corner. And I'm going to start putting my money in a savings account. Don't put your money in a savings account. And I know that that's counterintuitive to what you're used to hearing. But what happens is the interest rate that you're getting for a savings account is 0.03%. So you have to put in $3 to get 1 cent. So every $3 you get 1 cent back. That's warped. Back to what I said about buying a share of stock. If you buy stock in a share of Nike, I don't know how much Nike costs. I think it's anywhere between $70 to $100. So let's say you buy 1 share of Nike. The longer you keep that share, the more value it becomes. If you bought $1,000, I just read an article. If you put $1,000 of stock in Walmart, because everybody goes to Walmart, in 1 year, you probably only make like maybe $70. That's still more than what you would if you put it in a savings account. And then after 5 years, you probably would have made close to $700 in 5 years. That's still more than what you would have made in the savings account. But if you put $10,000, that same $1,000 after 10 years, it's worth $2,700. So if you can understand, you've made $1,700 doing nothing with that money. So we have to be more judicious in how we use our money. What? What'd you say it was?
$106.
See, yeah. $106. I mean, believe it or not, they sell sneakers for more than their own share of stock. So when you think about it, the funny thing about it is, if every African American and the thing is though, when you buy a share of that stock, you actually own a portion of that company. Believe it or not, if we had, I mean, there's so many positives to owning stock. That you actually have something that over time, and believe it or not, everyone always says, oh, the stock market's going to go down. You're right, the stock market is going to go down. But guess what? It's going to go right back up again. Because believe it or not, people are rich for a reason. I mean, you don't want to buy stocks when it's at its highest. You buy when at its lowest. So if you buy it when it's at 50, and then when it goes back up to 100, guess what? You've made $50 for every share of stock that you have. You know, when you buy real estate, you bought your house for 200. 30 years from now, that house now is worth 400. So when you retire and you move to a smaller house, you're walking away with $200,000 of equity, along with your original $200,000. You know, probably the biggest takeaway is understanding net worth. Your net worth is taking all your assets and subtracting it from your liability. If you have no assets and you have more liabilities, you're in the hole. So if you have, like, say for instance, you're renting, that's a negative, but that's okay. But if you're taking your money and buying high dollar bags, high dollar shoes, you're paying like, say, a $1,500 a month car payment, all that stuff adds up. So you have nothing appreciating in value, and now you're just losing money. So technically, you will never, ever, ever be able to be rich. You will never, ever, ever be in the ability to have ownership of things. Because if you don't understand, the best way to keep people down is to never let them own anything. Because that's why now if you look at it, when you go buy a car, to buy a car, the average car loan used to be 3 years. So they raised the price up and said, yeah, it's okay to have a 5-year car loan. Now they raised the prices even more, and they're saying, yeah, get 7-year car loan. 7 years for a car? That's insane. Why do you need to pay 7 years for a car? And the worst part about it is, the longer you own the car, the less valuable it becomes. So your $80,000 car is slowly losing $10,000 each year.
Yeah.
So by the time it's said and done, you go to trade in your car, and they say, man, they come back and tell you, man, your car held its value. It's got $20,000. Wait a second, I bought it for $80 and it's only worth $20. If you think that's a good business investment, please, please, please come see me, because you can give me $80 and I guarantee you I can give you $20. That doesn't even make sense when you say it out loud now, does it? Mm-hmm. And then you're going to take that same $20,000 and roll it back into another depreciating asset, thinking you're making a lot of money. And what's even worse, if you get in a car accident, the value of your car drops even further. So we have to start looking at the value of a car, stop using savings accounts, Christmas accounts, get an index fund. And the next one, we'll talk about stocks, and I'll explain stocks and investing. But realistically, your money's actually safer in the stock market, because if you look at it, when you look at MTV Cribs, and they show all these rappers, the first thing they do is they walk out there and show you their cars. When they show you these Caucasian financiers, all thing they do is they show you their assets and real estate they own. We got to change our mindset.
Dope nuggets.
Good stuff.
Good nuggets. Thank you, Doc. Look forward to the next one. I learned something today, so I really appreciate it. I appreciate the conversation with each of you, taking time out of your busy schedules to share with the peoples on Girl Talk. And that is a wrap for us this evening. But as always, I see you because I am you.
You have just listened to the Girl Talk Podcast with your host, Melissa Ann. Subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Spotify, or Google Play. Until next time, remember, I see you because I am you.